Good afternoon. Welcome to Joy News today. We are coming to you live from our studios in Cocobod. We're on DTT because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, Electricity Company of Ghana to honor payments to independent power producers this week as agreed in a new payment offer reached on Friday. Also this afternoon, Court of Appeal sets aside High Court decision that the trial of former Cocobod CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni should start afresh. We have details as it orders the new judge to rely on evidence already gathered to continue the case. An NPP vetting committee undertakes suitability checks on parties' flag-bearership race aspirants. We are live from the party's campaign office in Cocobod, where Alan Tremantin is addressing the media after taking his turn at the vetting, and will be followed by Vice President and Energy Analyst Poku. And today on our Floods of Trauma series, we turn our attention to residents of Dechemso who say they live in fear every time it rains. We have business spots all coming up shortly. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. Let's begin with former Trade and Industry Minister Alan Tremantin, who has just finished with his vetting of the NPP vetting committee to test the suitability of presidential hopefuls who have submitted bids to lead the party in the 2024 general election. He's among two other aspirants, Vice President Dr. Bawumia and Poku, who will be appearing before the Professor Mike Okwe-led committee. 10 individuals have since filed their nomination forms to vie for the position. Director of Elections of the NPP, Evans Nemako, says the process leading up to the Delegates Congress in November will be fair. We can now cross over to the party's campaign office and speak with our man, Samuel Mbura, who is there for us. Do we know how this vetting went with Trades Minister when he faced the Mike Okwe committee? Hello, Mbura.
Well, so he was discharged just some 15 minutes. Yeah, I can hear you if you can. So, Asha, I am saying the former Trade and Industry Minister, Alan Tremantin, has been discharged. That is 15 minutes ago. And he's actually the first aspirant among the three that are supposed to be vetted today by the Professor Mike Okwe's committee. That is actually a 7-member committee. So his vetting took about 1 hour, 30 minutes. The media was not given the opportunity to monitor the process in the vetting room. But after the long wait, Mr. Alan Tremantin told the media that it was a successful one, and this is actually an indication that he's ready for the next phase of the election. So he used the opportunity to announce that his official campaigning or touring of some constituencies in the Greater Accra region actually starts tomorrow. But as to what actually transpired between he and the elections vetting committee, he declined to answer that. He said it is just within the party. I want us to listen to what he told the media after the vetting process.
The vetting process for presidential aspirants for our party, and I had a good interaction with the committee. As you're all aware, I've been through this exercise on several other occasions, so I'm quite familiar and comfortable with this process. I think the important thing for you is to know that tomorrow I will start my constituency tours in Greater Accra. I have decided that I'll introduce an innovation into my constituency tours by clustering constituencies for the purpose of bringing our party executives together, not just within their own constituencies, but in a few other constituencies in the cluster. That will help energize the rank and file of our party. I mean, it's all about making sure that we work together as a party in our march towards victory 2024. So I hope we can work collaboratively with you on these rounds that will begin tomorrow.
May we know some of the issues that came up in the vetting?
No, it is not appropriate for us to discuss issues that have been discussed in camera. That has been the tradition and practice of our party.
Are you confident of
Thank you very much.
But we've not heard from you on the Ascent Health incident. Can you get a...
Mbora, we know that the vice president and the one other, Poku, would also be facing the vetting committee. Has that happened?
At the moment, Poku, the energy consultant, is the second person to face the vetting committee. He has been with the vetting committee for the past 20 minutes now. But the team, the advanced security team of the vice president, Dr. Bawumia, are already at the campaign team here, campaign office of the NPP. Waiting for his arrival.
Have you had the opportunity to speak with any of them?
Before Poku entered for his vetting, I engaged him briefly to ask him about his expectations, and he said that he's optimistic that he will make an impression before the vetting committee that will warrant him to qualify for the next stage of the election. He said that he is a member of good standing, as demanded or as mandated by the party's constitution. That says that any person who is contesting the presidential race must have at least 5 years of experience and must be of good character. He's optimistic that after the vetting and subsequent special delegates conference, will be among the 5 that will be selected to go into the main election.
Samuel Mbura is a man at the NPP campaign office for us. We'll definitely bring you more on this as all the candidates scheduled for today face the vetting committee. Let's talk about power, because the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, will from this week begin paying independent power producers as agreed in a new payment offer reached on Friday. According to the Managing Director of ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama, the accounts will be credited once the IPPs have fulfilled their part of the deal. There's more in this report.
In late May, the IPPs rejected a government proposal to restructure almost $2 billion in arrears owed them by the state as part of efforts to implement a $3 billion loan deal from the International Monetary Fund aimed at addressing the economic crisis. The power producers, who have a 50% market share of electricity generation, threatened to shut down their plant by June 30 should their demand for 30% interim payment of their debt is not received.
Well, definitely, if there is no remedial action, I cannot guarantee light from 30th June.
Managing Director of the ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama, leading negotiations with the IPPs at the time, indicated that a deal will be reached.
We've had very, very productive discussions, and they would not go off. With all confidence, I would say ignore, because we do owe them. So I would say ignore, but what I'll say is that the conversations are far advanced to avert something like this. And so I can say with all confidence that it won't come to that.
But days later, it turned out that the IPPs hadn't been engaged. Ediklim Apatogbo is CEO of the IPP's chamber.
No, we've not had any negotiation in that regard. None of the IPPs have been engaged in any conversation or discussion regarding that proposal.
The IPP's chamber then set in motion a series of actions, including a directive to members to switch off plants from July 1 to July 8, triggering another round of meetings with ECG and the other stakeholders. The minority, in their bid to calm situations, called a press conference to appeal to the IPPs to back down.
And so I want to make a passionate appeal and plead with the independent power producers to give government and the nation some more time.
The government was able to convince the IPPs to abort the shutdown while reaching a new agreement. Under the new agreement, the power producers received an interim payment offer with the understanding that government and the Electricity Company of Ghana will use the grace period to work towards a permanent resolution of the debt issue.
So we've agreed on numbers across board for everybody, and everybody knows what they have to do and get back to us by the middle of the week. And when they do that, whatever needs to be credited to them will be credited to them immediately.
The IPPs, however, indicated that if this outcome is not reached, they will be left with no choice than to revert to their earlier decision to shut down without any further notice.
Away from electricity, let's talk about water, because as flood waters spread, they threaten lives, inundate homes and businesses, destroy property, damage and prevent access to essential needs. In our next episode of Floods of Trauma, Nana Boachi Adam visits residents of Dechemso in the Ashanti region facing apprehension as their homes experience consistent floods.
This isn't a moat house, neither is it a stilt building. This is an ordinary home in Dechemso, a popular community in Kumasi. In a traumatic event such as flooding, residents experience difficulty sleeping. They get depressed, angry and heightened feelings of anxiety.
So you can see, it takes some tactics or techniques to get into this building. So residents have adopted another route. Instead of using this particular gate, they would have to use another stretch. Even at some point in time, they have to jump this particular wall before they can get out of their house.
With the slightest formation of dark clouds, Ikwinya trembles. Her house is flooded after a downpour a week ago.
In so tower has say, Unya baby and fat. Just a year, just hope you are wanting. I got about 3 hours, 4 hours. And Sana, what by inside?
When it rains, it gets to my neck. When the house floods, you have to go out for about 3 hours before you can get back to the house.
A year, and then we have another Muhanya at check. Can I crack a moon to me? Jana say.
In so tall last week.
Last one, we are at check. And then I'm here, Valanda Muha.
The flood waters reached the window level of the building and covered almost all her personal belongings in her room. Days after the heavy flooding, she is still counting her losses.
We are
suffering. My child is unable to go to school because his books get wet. My room is flooded.
Now this is the means of exit for anybody in this particular building. Because the house has flooded, they use this wall, this fence wall, as a means of exit.
Streams in the community are blocked with gutters clogged. This isn't enough to properly channel the water at a rate that allows it to fully transport all the dirt, twigs and leaves it collects, causing floods in the community.
Now all gutters in this community is connected to this particular stream. The stream is unable to house the water because it is covered with sand. To allow the stream collect all the water, they have to scoop out the sand, and that is what is going on here.
Yeah, probably at me, but I could do Chihuahua. I'm about to fras at Fiona, Alabashia, and we suppose you have Mutiabada, Abacasina.
When it rains, the stream is unable to contain the water. This area gets flooded anytime it rains. When it happens, it breaks down the walls and destroys properties.
If you're one in India, I took Boo of Tibuano, what a Boo and I would be Biat, Mr. Nemanina. Ada akwede mo so a. This one na watwe so da fie NPP bio. Na ka was fie na bunema a ofie onyina de and condemn.
The Dechemso community mosque closer to the stream has flooded, leaving worshippers to adopt a smaller space for worship. Amos Mensah has been in the community for the past 12 years. He narrates the situation anytime there is a downpour.
Because of a formula, I say, and so not I say. A strong quan as I say, a yeguma. So here from concern that that's time because of Sabi Papa and Yamisan Kanakwe, and so
this nice mosque isn't functional anymore because of flood. We only use a small portion. When it rains, you can't use this route. The problem here is huge. This is the main Mention road. The Kumasi airport is just here. They should do something. We even see crocodiles in the stream sometimes. The flooded mosque can be described as a pond for fishing. They want government to help solve the flood problem in the community.
We plead with the government to do something about this for us. We don't have any money to rent a new house.
Authorities should fix the gutters for us. If not, our challenge will continue anytime it rains.
For Joy News, my name is Nana Boache Dankwayado, Kumasi.
Stakeholders in Ghana's education sector are worried about the condition of service for teachers. They're asking the government to do more to better the lives of teachers, especially those in deprived communities. General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Musa, and Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies, Dr. Peter Anti, rated teachers' conditions of service at 30% and 10% respectively. They both spoke on the AM show.
Given the scale, I'm sure we should be around somewhere 3. We've not gotten anywhere. We should be around somewhere 3.
What would explain the figure of 3? 3 out of 10 is a fail grade, so why 3?
Certainly, we should be around somewhere 3. Look, most of the things that the teacher will need to deliver, it's not there. When you employ a staff, the employer has 3 main duties. You employ a competent staff. Number 1, you provide the competent staff with all the tools, the equipment that the competent staff needs to deliver. Then the last one is supervision. But here we are. The kind of tools, the equipment that must be provided, they are not there. The kind of compensation that must be given to the teacher, those things are not there. Teachers travel, into very difficult areas. Some of them lose their lives, among other things.
I was going to give them 1 out of 10, but the secretary said 3, so maybe I would reconsider that and 2%. 2 out of 10. And the reason is simple. I've never been a fan of the teaching profession, how it is treated in Ghana. Although I love to teach, I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher all my life, and this is because the way teachers are treated in this country, it's an eyesore. It's not a profession that if you don't have the kind of heart and the commitment to venture in, you would. And that is why every now and then, a lot of people enter, they find something more profitable doing, and then they leave. Okay, so the profession has never been, in the way that we treat it in this country, have never been the kind of profession that one would be proud of entering into. And if that is the case, I don't think anybody would want to rate the current status of the Ghanaian teacher above 30%. I don't think so. It's something that we have to sit down and have a very passionate and objective discussion about. What kind of education do we want to provide our children? What do we need to put in place to ensure that this kind of education is delivered? In terms of the teacher quality, what are the things that needs to be given to the teacher so that the teacher will be able to deliver as we expect him to deliver? when we are able to put these things in place and the teacher is not delivering, then we can come out and talk about some of the things that are happening in terms of student performance and all those things. But as it stands now, there is nothing that we are giving the teacher that is so motivating enough to ensure that the teacher comes out wholeheartedly to deliver whatever mandate that is going to do.
Let's head to the court because the trial of the former Cocobod CEO, Dr. Stephen Opuni, will no longer start afresh. This is because the Court of Appeal has, in a unanimous decision, ruled that the High Court got it wrong when it indicated that it will no longer rely on its records gathered since 2017. The new judge, Justice Kwesi Anochijima, had indicated it would be unfair for him to adapt proceedings that were saddled with numerous allegations. Well, the Court of Appeal disagrees. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable joins us. First, a brief background to how we got to this point.
And so this is a matter that has been pending in the court since 2017 when the state formally filed charges against Dr. Kwadwo Opuni. Over the period, the case was mainly heard by Justice Clement Onyenuga, who at the time was the Court of Appeal judge and heard the case as an additional High Court judge. He was eventually sent to the Supreme Court, and he still continued hearing the case as an additional High Court judge. Over the period, there have been multiple applications. We've seen the Supreme Court at one point restrain the Clement Onyenuga from hearing the matter, and the Supreme Court again, by a review decision, allowing him to return to the case. Justice Onyenuga has since retired, and Justice Anochi was handed the case, but he took the view that because of the multiple allegations that were contained in the records, it was only fair to both sides that the matter starts afresh.
Talk about this decision and what it means for the case going forward.
The Court of Appeal takes the view that Justice Kwesi Anochi got it wrong in the conclusion that he reached. It's important to also indicate that the matter will be transferred to a new judge because the information we have taken is to the effect that Justice Kwesi Anochi, who ordered a fresh trial, has actually been transferred to the Ashanti region. But for Attorney General Godfrey Deboadami, he is satisfied with the ruling of the court.
My colleague Joseph Akable is the one who is monitoring this in court for us. Listen to the Attorney General speak on this matter.
Act of Ghana, the bill has already gone to the Judicial Council. The Judicial Council has considered it and has actually okayed it. And it makes provisions for adoption of evidence in clear terms by a trial court. It makes provision for reform of the jury system. It makes provision for a trial day-to-day, which is actually the norm. And it is only in this country where trial, especially in relation to financial offences, takes so long to conclude. I mean, it is just unheard of in England, America, and elsewhere that the trial regarding financial offences which affect the taxpayers' purse will take about 6 years to conclude. They cannot be. That trial will be concluded in no time. And I speak from experience. When I was in Paris in 2009, when your NPP was opposition, I conducted the very first criminal trial involving former ministers serving in the NPP before arbitration. Probably versus Precious AD, the former foreign minister. I was Precious AD's counsel. And the trial lasted no more than 10 months. In those 10 months, the prosecution had called 17 witnesses. I cooperated with all the work.
Deboadami, his Attorney General, speaking on the case involving Opuni. Now, Domahene, who is also president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Osajefo Osiadio Ajeman Bedu II, has requested that the case involving the Asin North MP-elect Jachi Kwesin be dropped. He delivered the keynote address at John Evans Atta Mills' 10th anniversary lecture in Sunyai. Now, let me bring in Joseph Akable also on this matter. Blay, the Attorney General has a response on this.
Mr. Dami says in due course you issue a statement that addresses all comments which he believes are unhealthy and have the potential to affect the administration of justice.
Joseph Akable is court legal affairs correspondent. He brought us updates from the court. Let's do more on Joy News today. And doctors leaving Ghana attributable to the quest for a better environment. That is presidential advisor on health, Dr. Nsia Sari, who has refuted assertions that doctors are leaving Ghana due to the low remuneration. Then Dr. Nsia Sari said the menace can largely be attributed to the doctors' search for better environments for specialty training. He spoke to MFR Power on the probe.
In Ghana, we are lucky that we are training health professionals, especially nurses. There are about, the last time I counted, there are about over 80 nursing training schools in this country. Each one is training. The last time I counted, there are 5 medical schools and also 2 private medical schools. So there are 5 public medical schools, 2 private medical schools, which makes it 7. All what you need to do to take advantage of what is happening now in the world, to open up, expand. Once you expand, it means you have to expand the training. One of the most important...
Which is something we are doing here?
Yes. One of the most important things in, for example, health training, institution training, is the practical aspect of it. Because health training, medicines, nursing, pharmacy, is not only theoretical. There's also a practical aspect of it. These hospitals we are putting up in the districts is going to assist to decentralize the training and then add more students to it. So that KNUST can use all the new hospitals which are coming up as training sites and appoint adjunct lecturers and adjunct professors and senior lecturers at those places. It will also help us to also decentralize our postgraduate training so that let me tell you, doctors, for example, don't just go out there to go and work because maybe it's because of money. Every young doctor, which I've been one of them before, wants to be a specialist.
So and that's the concern. Yeah, specialized personnel.
Yes.
Training of these specialized personnel is one key concern, at least.
Yes. So we should have a lot of hospitals where we can decentralize the training and then we don't disrupt somebody who has his family maybe in Ho. That's where he's working. He has a wife and children there. And all of a sudden he has to come to Kolebu, leave where he's abode, and then come here and come to start training. Why can't he stay in one of the hospitals? The hospital is there to train.
Addressing the delay in the completion of the Agenda 111 project, Dr. Nsia Sari says government is hopeful that most of the projects which have already started will be completed by the 3rd quarter of 2024.
The entire project, what the president meant, or what we meant was that when the project starts and everything is moving on very well, we don't expect the contractor to spend more than 18 months before finishing the construction.
Okay.
That is it. Trader, yes, they have to ask for extension of time. In contrast, we can do that. When there's
How much extension did they ask? Because even 21 months, we've done 61%. Are we still within the timeline?
The amount of work left to be done, the percentage will be higher because external work is a very high percentage. I'm not a building engineer or I'm not an architect. What I've learned from this work that we are all been following, that you get a lot of high percentage when you are doing external work than building. The most important thing is the substructure. Once you finish the substructure, the buildings start going on. And we also encountered a problem. We wanted to use earth bricks. Then we saw that it's going to be a problem getting the material is there, but getting the expertise to make it such a way that it is all the same size and everything was a problem.
The director of the Wager Leprosarium, Reverend Father Andrew Campbell, is calling for more support for people living with leprosy across the country. According to him, many of such persons are helpless and live in penury. He was making the appeal at the inauguration of the Lepers Aid Board and Council of Co-workers and Friends of Father Campbell Foundation.
Father Campbell says he was inspired by Mother Teresa to embark on the project by supporting the vulnerable in the society. But he says the demands on him have become a normal, such that he needs his friends and associates to help him put smiles on the faces of the vulnerable in the Ghanaian society.
Very, very happy moment because over the years here in Ghana, I'm over 52.5 years in Ghana, and every year I seem to get more and more people coming to me for help. The street children, the lepers in the different settlements all over the country. And more people are coming, and I cannot do it all on my own. I need help. And that's why when I was reading about Mother Teresa forming this friends and co-workers of Mother Teresa, I said, yes, that's what I need to do, is to have friends and co-workers of Father Campbell coming together and be able to help, because the poor people today, many of them go to bed hungry. The poor people, they cannot afford a lawyer. Like one of my friends, a very poor person, he said to me, Father, he said, for the poor there's no justice. I cannot afford a lawyer. I cannot. So he was discouraged, you know, in this. And then when you see the prices of medication, you know, one person here in the Leprosarium, she had 2 clots in the lung. I'm paying 950 cedis a month just for medication, just for one person.
He further called for support to enable him meet the demands that come with catering for the lepers.
So we must help them. Those of us who are well, those of us who are strong, those of us who have something, we must share it with others. When God has given all of us gifts, so we can easily share it with others. It might be just something small or something big, whatever it might be, you know, because Mother Teresa was asked once, well, what you're doing is like a drop of water in the ocean. And Mother Teresa says, the ocean is better off for that drop of water. Every Christmas we have a concert. So we'll be organising our concert and to get more and more people to come and donate and let people know what is happening. Because many people don't even know at time that Wager Leprosarium exists. They don't know. They don't know that every year over 250 new cases of leprosy in Ghana. They don't know that. They don't know these things. So we will be able to help them and be able to let people know. And letting them know when they know this, touch their hands and touch their heart and touch their pocket.
There were pledges and other donations at the launch. Former Auditor General Daniel Yao Domelovo graced the launch. Richard Kwadwo, Joy News, Wager Leprosarium, Accra.
We're still live on Joy News today, and we're coming to you straight from our studios in Kokomlemle on the Fanofa Streets. Let's take a break. When we return, we have the very latest coming from the world of business.
Hi, good afternoon. Warm welcome to the business segment on Joy News today with me, Pius Kojobaka. The Jospon Group and their partners, the Asian African Consortium, have signed an MOU with the International Research Organization, that's the International Rice Research Institute, for the production of improved rice seedlings for cultivation in Ghana. According to Jospon Group and, of course, the partners, there is a great opportunity in the rice value chain that needs to be explored for rice self-sufficiency to be realized in Ghana. There is more.
According to data available, Ghana imports around $5 billion worth of rice into the country annually. This is because the local rice production is faced with several challenges, such as lack of access to capital and improved seedlings. To deal with the challenges, the Jospon Group and its partners, the Asian African Consortium, have decided to invest heavily in the sector and have now signed a memorandum of understanding with the International Rice Research Institute to boost rice farming in Ghana. Dr. Joseph Siawa Japan is a group CEO for Jospon Group.
For 60 years, we were planting rice. If we want to build on, we must be very careful because you judge us. So we ask, I want to just support Professor Bebu that not that we just want to rush in and then showcase. No, we are taking our steps and to make sure that things are on the right path.
He says funding for the equipment needed for the production of high-yielding rice seedlings have already been procured. Director General of Ghana's Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, Professor Paul Bosu, says the challenges confronting the agricultural development in Ghana will be over with this project by the Jospon Group.
Normally, the challenge has been the resource to develop these agricultural technologies and transfer to farmers. Fortunately, that problem we have been assured is going to be a thing of the past.
The Deputy Director of the International Rice Research Institute, Dr. Joanna Kathleen Kane Potaka, explains that this partnership will be a game changer for rice farming in Ghana.
And I'm pretty excited to see if we can, through this partnership, be the first to bring these high nutritious, healthy rice varieties to Africa. It's going to be exciting and game changing.
It is the expectation that in the next 1 month, laboratories across 4 centers in Ghana will be set up to research into producing high-yielding rice varieties for farmers across the country. We can only hope for the best for rice farming in Ghana. For Joy News, Samuel Kojo-Brace, Accra.
Now, the largest industrial manufacturing company in Europe, Showbiz, has secured a new partnership with the government of Ghana targeted at deepening and expanding the study of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics in Ghana. Through the German mission in Accra, the Siemens Foundation says it will promote STEM education in basic schools across the country in order to promote the growth of Ghana's skilled labor market.
The study of science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics has been identified as a prerequisite for Ghana's industrial revolution and economic transformation. Already, the government of Ghana says it is scaling up efforts targeted at training young learners in all educational facilities to adapt to the changes in technology around the world. Identifying the need to support developing countries, German conglomerate Siemens AG says it has secured a new partnership with the government of Ghana targeted at deepening and expanding the study of science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics in Ghana. Dr. Nina Schmidt is Managing Director and spokesperson of the Managing Board of International Siemens Foundation.
We believe that STEAM education really lies at the root of all these issues. And if we have teachers basically teaching students, teaching young people how to use the STEAM approach in a creative, in an innovative way, this makes all the difference for society.
German ambassador to Ghana, Daniel Krul, says the latest intervention from Siemens AG will go a long way to strengthen the cooperation between Ghana and the German government.
So German cooperation has been very active in the field of vocational training and skills development. If you ask me what is Siemens Stiftung doing, and you ask me to say it in one sentence, my answer is Siemens Stiftung is about convincing you that science is sexy.
The latest program will see many schools in Ghana receive technical training using cutting-edge technological devices in order to build the skill sets of young learners.
So in Ghana, what we do is to get teachers from the public schools. Mostly we have started with the basic schools. We provide them with a training, after which we supply them with a combo of apparatus and equipment, components, electrical components, across topic areas that fall under the Ghana Education Service.
And that's it for business for now. I am Pius Kojobaka. Darok will be here at 1 p.m. with the marketplace. Sports is next.
Thank you for staying with us. I'm Gary Al Smith with the sports. And following Ghana's elimination from the Under-23 Africa Cup of Nations ongoing in Morocco, the Ghana Football Association has come under intense scrutiny by no less than a plethora of ex-footballers. This weekend on Joy News and Joy FM, we had Derek Boateng and Ajiman Bedu take the GFA to task. Their problem with the FA is that there are no structures, there is no planning, and they believe that enough is not being done to harness the rich potential in Ghanaian football. This is a montage from both players.
Do we have a talent identification a department at the FA? It's a crucial question, because when it comes to talent identification, they have some very serious things you need to look at when you want to bring players. Like right now that our league is messed up and we are not getting the players yet, and we are on an IMF bringing players on board. When you go for the IMF players from Europe, we need them. They have talent, but you need to add serious things. One is socialization. 2, culture. And 3, psychological. Socialization. Is he a person that he can socialize with everybody in this country? Because you know how our game is. Can he be socializing himself with them, with the country? 2, psychological. Have you heard what is going on in the country? How our football is managed? How people have that kind of zeal for the game if things doesn't go on well? That is psychological side. Then the culture. Will it fit in the culture that we have here? They need to have an emergency meeting this week and bring a 7-member committee out. Even the government can involve somebody because they pay. They are paying with the players. So the government can involve somebody, the sports ministry. What is the use of Mr. Abedi Peles, the Tony Buffos, the Stephen Appiers, the Suleiman Mota, the Michael Essence? Bring them on board. Let them have a 7-member committee and check what is really going on. Let them call people. Ask them relevant questions. The rumors we are hearing, relevant questions. These individual people, bring them on board. Let them speak out. Maybe when you get them 1v1 like this, they may talk. Then we take some positive things from there. Then we build on it. Go back and ask the Malian national team.
Our time with poor people in charge that look, they don't need to take anything from players, or they don't need to, do the right things. You understand? Because if you can see some of the players they invite, even sometimes you can ask some of the players in the camp. They know some of their colleagues doesn't deserve to be there. I've spoke to a lot of them. So you can see a player playing down, another player sitting on the bench, and he knows that he's better than them, but he's playing. Why? You understand? Because this thing has been there. And for me, being a scout, it's about time, we change all these things. And for me, I know that to change Ghana football, to change a lot of things, all these things have to be stopped. We have to be fair. Players don't have to play in Romania and Serbia, and then you are inviting them to the national team. No. I think it's better you invite the local players who are playing in Ghana. Because they are having competition better than the players who are playing in Romania and Serbia. You understand? So for me, it's about time we have to change all these things. We have to be fair. We have to be tough on our decision making. You understand? Look at a coach like Lai Kingston. All the things Lai is doing, he's still assistant coach. All the things he has been learning, UEFA B, UEFA A, everything like going up and down, moving, he's doing well. But still, they haven't given a team to Lai. He's still assistant. You understand? So for me, it's not because he's my friend, I'm saying this, but I've seen his work, I've seen a lot of things that he's doing. We have to be fair. We have to be fair. And I don't know if the FA, I don't know how they approach this tournament. They haven't had preparation, they never prepare for that tournament. Like I'm saying, football has been played outside before you go to the field. And for me, we haven't done enough, to be in the Olympic Games.
Right, so more players have been speaking. Asamoah Gyan is the latest. This morning, he was on our sister station as Empire FM, and you can see the story on myjoyonline.com. We'll play that video for you at 2 p.m. with Nathaniel Ato when he comes over for sports today. But Asamoah Gyan believes that the Satellites team lacked urgency right from the second game. That was a game against Morocco in the under-23 AFCON. Anyway, that's it for the sport. I'm Gary Al Smith. Do stay with us. Head over to myjoyonline.com. Baba Rahman's contract with Chelsea has been terminated after he joined them in 2015. And so many more stories. Stay with us.
Sierra Leone's Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion is urging citizens to guard against post-electoral violence, which could take the country back to its dark days of war. Incumbent President Julius Maada Bio's re-election is being met with violent clashes by the opposition parties, which claim the election were not free and fair. The Information and Communications Minister of Sierra Leone has been speaking to Joy News's AM show on the latest in that country after the declaration of results last Tuesday.
Also, thank you very much. On June 24th, Sierra Leone had multi-tier elections, which comprise presidential, parliamentary, and local council elections. This was our 5th post-conflict elections since the war officially ended in 2002. In these elections, about 12 political parties contested, including the SLPP, which currently has the presidency. So those elections were keenly contested, but in the end, Brigadier Retired Julius Madabi won.
2 things. Number one, there have been a flurry of congratulatory messages across this country from paramount chiefs, from tribal leaders, from religious communities, to congratulate His Excellency and to assure him all is well in their community. That's number one. Number two, the call for a rerun, no political party is competent enough to call for a rerun. That's way above their pay grade. They should not arrogate themselves that right. The only competent authority to so do follow a petition at the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court externally. And as to the best of my knowledge, this election has not been challenged in the Supreme Court. Once it does, we will watch the drama unfold. But that's a very unrealistic demand coming from the political party. That's unreasonable, right? So we are firmly fixed on the huge challenge of reconciling this country, of blurring the lines, and of bringing every Sierra Leonean, progressive Sierra Leonean, who has something to offer to this country to work for the benefit of our country, so that we can achieve a united, peaceful, and progressive Sierra Leone, where everybody, including my brother Mohamed Kanu, can have an opportunity to realize their fullest potential. This is the only country we have. We will encourage them to exercise violence and to use dual constitutional processes and procedures, to express their dissent.
That does it for World News. Up next is Showbiz. And time now for Showbiz. Prominent industry players joined Stonebwoy in Lusaka to celebrate his album. And that's the festival that returned this summer to Portugal with a lineup thrilling performances by some of the world's finest musicians. Camido, Black Sharif and Jackie held the fort for Ghana as they gave patrons a taste of the motherland. Here's what you've missed.
I'm gonna keep my pace. So you don't like designer, I really don't like to ganga. You think you like to ganga, you got to show where they ever see the eye. Don't see me, no one will tell you how it's in Yaka, Miami. I see you shower.
So that was Afro Nation Portugal in 2023, held in Portugal. Now, dancehall artist Stonebwoy held the Zambian leg of his Fifth Dimension tour over the weekend in the city of Lusaka. The event, hosted by Mozo TV, a Ghanaian-owned media outfit in Zambia, saw prominent Zambian music industry personalities, including Yo Mapso, Mampi J. Rocks, Zodwa, and many others in attendance. The musician also paid a courtesy call on the Ghana mission in Zambia, introducing his new body of work.
It's a great development from my first album to the fifth album, which is the fifth dimension, and you can see for yourself, like, we are actually contributing to the strength that African music has or is getting on the global map, and that gives me a lot of joy. So, come on, man, it feels great. Next one.
And that does it for Showbiz. That's how we also wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Prime. Log on to myjournline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.